It's just changing colour. Hi, I want to make... I just realised it's still on screen because I just filmed the other piece of footage. I'm going to make that. I don't just want it to be a wall art piece or a mask. To be more functional. Oh, that print actually finished. I thought it was just changing colour. Alright, so a more functional thing. So I've brought... This is a little clock movement. So we're going to make it a clock. I first started by looking at pictures and stuff. By the way, I'm filming this all backwards because I'm recording this halfway through the project. I literally have it down here. I'm just kind of filling in the gaps because I decided to not record the whole bloody process, and now I'm paying the price because now I'm having to figure it out. That's facing the wrong way. So I first of all got a picture of him. I then used Bamboo Labs AI to turn a photo into a 3D model. And I used AI because one, AI is cracked, and two, it saves me loads of time. This is basically a long-winded way of me saying I can't model organic stuff very well, or at least not in a good amount of time. So using AI was basically just that big push I needed to at least have a template which I could then adapt, as that was a lot easier than me trying to figure out more of Blender to try and figure it out, because Blender is not my #1 modeling software. Far from it. I then took it into Blender, fixed up the model, used the sculpt tool to make it all nice and niceness. I then made negatives within Fusion because I wasn't too keen on doing that in Blender because I wasn't really too sure. So I made the negatives within Fusion and then cut away the pieces using that technique. But the next big issue was the actual movement of the clock, because as you can see here, it's poking through the end of the model because the rods where you attach the hands are not long enough. So I had to push it back and extend those rods. One key thing I had to take into consideration is the first model actually had a little bit too much friction and too much weight, which means the clock wasn't able to turn and keep time very well. So I had to make sure these were super thin and super light. So here are the extending rods for the clock mechanism. So if we just get these off. So basically I've got these two rods here. Quick, and one thing I found that really helps reduce the friction as well is just sanding it a little bit. With a 3D print, there are seam lines going down it here. Let me move that line. I literally say that and it's just died on me straight away. So there is a seam line on it right here, which is basically going to be a long bump. So I sand off all of that, and that way it's going to be smooth the whole way around, and it hopefully won't interact with the inside of the piece. And then I'll do the same for the other piece, and now these pieces can fit inside of each other like this. Inner and an outer bit that will spin separately. So I've got myself this, and then I've also got the mechanism. So this bit goes in the center one, like that. This bit goes around it, goes in like that, and then basically you've got an extended shaft that should freely spin without much friction, so it won't affect this being able to keep time. And there you go, now you've got an extended shaft thing for your clock. I then started printing the model, and I did it in two separate halves as two large pieces instead of one, because if I was to do this as a multicolor print, it's going to hugely increase the time and material cost, and increasing the time and material cost means at the end of the day it's going to cost more for you guys, because I plan on selling these. So making sure I keep the costs down means that you guys pay less. So we got the left and the right side printed, we got the light and the dark, and this is one of the most satisfying things I have ever built, because wow, that was nice to do. And not only that, we can put this in the back as well. It fits in like this. Put those in, and now they freely move and will keep time, and you just put the ends on them. Once I had that all done, I started printing out these yellow spikes. The bottom layer texture on the build platform is like this like bumpy texture, which adds a little bit of gloss to it. So this is the top texture, and then this is the bottom texture. And I wanted the bottom texture to face out. So all these, when they're outside of it, means they'll have that texture on it. And then as you can see, these basically just have these grooves on the back where these sit in just... Well, there goes all of that. Of course, these will be glued in, obviously, but you can see how that just kind of aligns into that groove. And you can really see now, it is coming alive quite a lot, but I feel like once I put those eyes in, this thing is going to look alive. One thing I've yet to mention is I ordered in red PLA. And this is a glow-in-the-dark red PLA, so I'm going to see what this looks like. So we're going to see what this looks like in the dark. First of all, I'm just going to blast it with some light. If you didn't know, that's how glow-in-the-dark stuff works. It has to absorb the light first, and then it'll emit it. So I've just put it underneath the couch, and that's it there. It needs to be red, and it's very orange. It's like a very dull orange. So I'm going to think about this some more before I say that's final. And I don't really want to use lights in it. I would rather it be something that just glows, that's just kind of functionally fine and doesn't need maintenance or batteries or anything like that. Because the clock battery is going to last forever. I could always use small little candle lights, battery-powered candle lights for this application. But at the end of the day, for a consumer, having 2 little candle lights in each eye, which you have to fill up every now and then with those annoying watch batteries, which are really expensive, is going to be very irritating for the user. So I'm going to keep looking for red glow-in-the-dark PLA, and I really hope I can find some. Right, I've got both the eyes printed out with that red, which I probably won't keep, but both of the eyes are done, so we'll slip those in. The light one which goes in here, wow, that looks... Okay, well, it's not terrifying anymore. That one there. Of course, these will be glued in. That is considerably more scary with the eyes in. I might have to add like an over 18 to purchase this thing on my store. This is terrifying. So I just thought I'd mention, because I'm sure you guys could tell that this color is the same as this color. Why wouldn't I just make this all one print instead of being a separate part? The reason for that is so I can have a adaptable model that fits with all the other animatronic sun and moon variants. That way, because this is sun and moon, right? I could potentially just do a sun or just do a moon, and that means I don't have to have completely different models for each individual one, because at the end of the day, this is somewhat modular, and all I have to do is print out it in a different color. Kind of. I mean, the teeth are all going to be different, but the eyes being like this helps considerably.
Really sucks. So, that's really annoying. Turns out, the reference I was using for the thing I was making, this reference is just fan art. It's just a bunch of blibbity blop. And I don't like making stuff like that. I like making stuff that's accurate to the actual developers and what the game developers set out to make. I like making that sort of stuff. And I didn't know, but I was making fan art because I didn't do enough research at the end of the day. So, it's not all lost. But technically, right, that does exist. It is the Eclipse version of Sun and Moon, but the only Eclipse version in game that exists is the ruined version. And of course, mine is not the ruined version, so I'm technically making a completely made up one. But, like I just said before, it's a modular model, which means I can still use that model to make other variants that exist. For example, the sun, which the only thing different is just the colour of it. So it's not all lost because I just have to print that thing up in yellow and we're chill. The moon needs the hat, that's the only modelling difference, and it doesn't need the spikes. So we're back on, but we have went back a couple steps, so let's get to printing, I guess. I don't know, man, come on. But I mean, hey, I'm just thinking, it also means I don't have to figure out the whole glow-in-the-dark red anymore. So hey, maybe this makes it better, you know?